Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Country Education Partnerships Free Professional Development Online program, the Autumn Series. My name is Gary Allen, and it is again my pleasure to host the session. The Country Education Partnership acknowledges the traditional owners and custodians of the land, rivers, sea, people, ancestors, and spirits. I am speaking to you from the land of the Gadabanood people of the Eastern Maar, and I pay my respects to their elders past and present. And I extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, particularly any who may be present today. As usual, the session will take exactly 1 hour and we will conclude by 5 p.m. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat room and we will attempt to answer them today. Towards the end of the session, a survey will be posted, and I encourage everybody to complete that as we rely very heavily on the feedback that you provide. The program is being recorded, so there will be an opportunity for you to rewatch the session and all other sessions in the series. It's now my pleasure to introduce Jennifer Bowden, the CEO of the Mathematical Association of Victoria. Now, I must admit, when I looked through the program, I was quite excited when I saw Mav, the CEO of Mav, was joining us. As a past Surf Coast Shire councillor, I was thrilled that the Municipal Association of Victoria was going to be here, and it was something that I knew a lot about. I, of course, quickly realised that it had nothing to do with that. It was mathematics, something I know very little about. And it reminded me of the Alice in Wonderland. The Queen of Hearts said to Alice, "What's 1 and 1 and 1, 1 and 1 and 1, 1 and 1 and 1? I lost count," said Alice. "Not very good at addition, are you?" said the Queen of Hearts. Like Alice, I was never very good at sums. So with that, I'll hand over to you, Jen.
Thank you so much, Gary. I'm just checking that you can all hear me. Good, and thumbs up, because I'm hoping you're keen on doing some maths. That was a great introduction, and I'm hoping to do a little bit of maths with everyone today. So it is lovely to meet you all. My name's Jen Bowden. I'm the CEO of the Maths Association of Victoria, and you can call me Jen Brown, Jen Bowden. I don't really mind. As long as my nan would always say, it's not too early in the morning. Today we're going to be looking at connecting countries to classroom and some of the resources that we have available to all of our members and Victorian teachers, but in particular resources that we've created that will ensure equity for regional teachers. And we've had some learnings about what we've done in the past, so a lot of these resources are online and on demand. Now I'm going to share my screen with you. I'm also hoping that works. Great stuff. I would like to start myself by acknowledging the Wurundjeri Wurrung people of the Kulin Nations, who are the traditional custodians of the land on which MAV is located. At MAV, we pay respects to elders, past and present, and extend that respect to all First Nations people, recognising them as the original and ongoing custodians of this land, sovereignty that was never ceded. We honour and celebrate First Nations people as the first mathematicians on these lands, as seen in innovations such as navigational songlines, eel traps and boomerangs. We recognise and respect First Nations people as the first teachers of mathematics who continue to share knowledge by caring for and connecting with and respecting people and country. At MAV, we have made a commitment alongside all mathematics associations across Australia to drive a cultural shift and make systematic differences in mathematics education for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders. And I will talk a little bit later about our relationship that we have with the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Maths Alliance and some partnerships that you may like to be involved in. But to start with, I'm hoping that people will utilise the chat. If not, I'll be relying on you, Gary. I'd like to give you some time to have a think about this question. I particularly like this one. I found it online. It's a lady called Tierney Kennedy, and she has a business called Math Matters, but if the total value of these little beads was 25 and no number could be bigger than 10, what could the blue be worth? So for example, an orange could be worth 2, a yellow 3. I'd like you to have a little explore. So if the total value is 25, no number could be bigger than 10, what could the blue be worth? I'll give you a little bit of time to think about that and hopefully pop something in the chat. Thank you, Fiona. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Could it be 6? And we've got lots of different variations that we could make out of this. So for example, you could say that no colour could be the same, or we could allow some could be the same. Fiona said that she's found a mistake. That's right, Fiona. Marvellous mathematicians make mistakes. In thinking about these ideas, I'd like you to think about what else you could do to extend or support your students. And I know in particular in regional areas, we've got a lot of classrooms that will have more than one year level in it, not learning level, but year level. And quite often you might have 3 or 4, or some of your schools may have up to 7 year levels within the one classroom. I in particular like to teach classrooms that have more than 1 year level in it because it makes sure that every single student is differentiated for and catered for. So thinking about how you can cater for this for your students. I'd just like to talk a little bit about MAV as a membership organisation, and so saying thank you to anyone who is out there today who is already a member of MAV, and we know lots of our regional teachers are members of MAV. MAV is a membership organisation and we exist to serve our members. We also exist for all Victorian teachers as well though, so everything we do is available to all Victorian teachers. MAV members receive a discount or receive free benefits along with that. And today I'm just going to talk about some of the great things that we do. Well, Marc, I like that idea. Using physical beads for the students to manipulate would be very important. One thing we do have is something called a Maths Active School. So a Maths Active School is a school that really is a champion for ongoing professional learning, that they've got a purposeful maths program, they model high quality and research-informed teaching practices, use assessment strategically, engage students in enriching maths activities, and they strengthen the value of maths involving wider communities and technologies. MAV has approximately 25 Maths Active schools that have lovely plaques, and we do special things for them as an extra layer of membership. What we have found at MAV is that whilst we've got lots of great Maths Active schools, we've also got a lot of teachers who do a lot of these things but are having challenges for their whole school to get to that level. So in 2026, we will be initiating Maths Active teachers. And if that's something you're interested in, you can contact Renee or you can contact myself directly. This is the MAV team and we look like a fun bunch of people, which we are, but you have myself as the CEO and then we have some administration people such as Jackie, Michael and Dorinka. We also have a great team of primary school and secondary school education leaders, and I really wanted to emphasise that we do come to you. So on Friday, Diane and I were in Moe having a great time with a lot of teachers out there, but there's no place in Victoria at all that is too far for us to come to, and we would love to come and see you in your own schools. I'm going to pop in the chat, if I possibly can, some of our highlights of the fabulous things that we did in 2025, and I'm very happy to share this for people who are watching at home in their own time. I'm sure some of you might be at home. But MAV has 826 schools as members in 2025, which extended to over 17,000 educators with a whole range of different conferences and online and on-demand learning and student activities. We also recognise that whilst it's great to be a member, not everyone has the funds to be a member, and we all have small budgets. So we do really encourage anyone who may or may not be able to be a member to sign up to our matrix, which will give you a lot of information about what we're doing, what free activities we have, and different outcomes for you. And then we have an online Facebook community, which is getting a lot of traction at the moment, and we'd encourage you to have a look at that. We also have great publications. So I'm sure, as you can see, I'm very engaged there in the Vinculum. We have 2 journals. The journals are aimed at secondary school teachers and primary school teachers. So Vinculum is a secondary school teacher publication, where Prime Number is a primary school teacher publication. These are available freely to all of our members and are sent out in a quarterly mail out. We also have our Common Denominator magazine, which is available to all Victorian teachers freely and can be downloaded. I did want to ask in the chat if anyone knew what a vinculum was, or if anyone would like to have a guess at what a vinculum is. So I'm assuming most of you might know what a common denominator is, or a prime number, but a vinculum, would anyone like to have a guess, or does anyone know what a vinculum is? I'm going to put it out there to you, Marc. Something for you to learn. Excellent. Thank you, Tess. A vinculum is the line. Always must be a horizontal line, not a diagonal line. It is the line in a fraction. So if you think of 3/4, it's the line between a 3 and a 4 in a fraction. So someone out there has learned something new today, and you'll never forget it. Another thing that we're really proud of at MAV is our MAV shop. So our MAV shop has a range of hands-on materials. So we sell things such as cards, games. We've got a lot of teacher reference books, such as Di Siemens Teaching Mathematics. And then we have a whole range of picture books as well. We also have a whole heap of downloadable resources, such as our SAC starters and VCE trial exams. I'm very proud of our MAV shop for a few reasons. We might not be the most competitive price, but lovely Dorinka that you can see in the photo there is very efficient and will always make sure that she's meeting your needs. And quite often she will say to me, Jen, I've had a big order from a school. I think that it would be really great for someone to reach out to them and talk to them about the type of books that they've ordered. So we really like to make it a custom-made experience for you. We've got some great conferences coming up, and I did say before to the Country Education Partnerships team, I'm not afraid to put the cost in there. There's nothing more annoying for me than when you look at a great conference and you can't find out how much the cost is. And I'm also really happy in this case, if you email me, we will give a discount to all Country Education Partnership schools as well for this conference. So our first conference that we will be running in June is the Melbourne Mathematics Conference. It is in the city, but this conference is a conference about putting research into practice. So this conference will be with Melbourne University, and we look at different forms of research and how that practice takes place within schools. The first day of this conference is a leadership day, so that will be on Wednesday, the 3rd of June. And then the next day is split into 3 streams. It's an early childhood stream, a primary school teachers stream, and then a CAS calculator pedagogy stream. So for any VCE teachers out there or teachers who use CAS calculators, this is not about widgets or UDFs. This is about using CAS calculators to support your VCE students in improving their computational thinking. Our other conference that we have, which I'm sure many of you have been to before, is our annual conference that is at the end of the year. It has been running since the dawn of time. No, I think this is our 63rd annual conference. And this will take place on the 3rd and 4th of December at the end of the year. We do have a regional member discount, so that is already in place, and because we value that, regional members will most likely have to come in and travel in and then pay for accommodation to come to the conference. This conference has over 100 workshops every day. We have 5 keynotes every day, panels, and it has activities available for teachers who might be from pre-primary all the way to Year 12. So there's a whole heap of things there for you. Really embracing the spirit of teachers. The theme of this conference this year is activating mathematical hearts, hands and minds. So we really want to highlight the wonderful things that are happening within schools across Victoria. And then we have a VCE conference. So that has already happened this year. And as I said, on Friday, I was in Moe. A fortnight before that, we were in Bendigo, and we were bringing the VCE conference to regional settings. The VCE regional conference will happen in the very beginning of term 1 in 2027. I'm here to say, if you think that you would like us to come to your region, we would love to come out to you. So this year we did Moe and Bendigo. Last year we did Shepparton and Ballarat, and we'd really like to make sure that we're bringing this to regional areas. We do ensure that the price for a regional area is much cheaper than it is to come to the city regions, because we want to make sure that we are servicing our regional teachers. I'm going to share with you our MAV professional growth model. So a lot of the work that we do with schools is in-school consulting, and the role of MAV is to come to a school and work with them to develop their professional growth and work with their teachers to identify what their professional needs might be and build on them. So as you can see in this model, and I will in the chat share with you a lovely Q&A that was done with Teacher Magazine with one of our education consultants, Renee Ladner. The first thing we do is we identify schools' needs. We survey, we speak to the leadership team, we speak to the teachers. So we're ensuring that we're not coming to you with a ready-made professional learning model. We're bringing a model that works with your school and your school needs. Then we'll plan with you. We'll think about your context, the research that you're interested in, and we'll bring research that we feel is important to you. We'll work with your leadership and perhaps your SEALs or EELs if you're looking at a network. And then we'll come in and do a professional learning day, or we might do planning with your teachers, a range of modelled lessons and coaching. And then really importantly, we'll come back and do a review. A lot of the professional learning that we do in schools might be a program that runs over 2 years, and our job is to make ourselves redundant. So I don't want to make schools reliant on MAV consultants. We'd love to come out to you and work with you for a day or work with your networks. But if we're engaged with schools, which we quite often do, where we're coming out once a fortnight, we want to make sure that we're building up the capacity of your teachers so that MAV is redundant and you're not relying on our contractors. Another offering we have for our members is we do have 4 free webinars every term. So we try and align it with our different types of membership that we have. So we will always run an early childhood webinar, an early childhood meeting prior to school, and I'm not sure if we have any early childhood settings within Country Ed partnerships, but we always run a webinar for prior to school, and then we will have something that is suitable for primary school teachers, secondary school teachers, VCE, and also something along the lines of in-school leadership. One thing that we're finding at MAV is that there is a great interest in building mathematical leadership, which is has been great to be involved in. These are free for all MAV members, but also we've created them as very low cost, so they're $30 for anyone who is a non-member. And then we have some other great programs such as Build Me Up. So Build Me Up levels 7 to 10 is a program that we created for teachers who are out of field. So these are for teachers who may, and we know that there are many of them. In fact, I would hasten to think there isn't a school in the whole of Victoria that has every single teacher teaching mathematics at the moment that are in field. But we created this for teachers who are out of field teaching years 7 to 10. What we found was that whilst those teachers were really enjoying the program, there were a lot of in-field teachers who were also enjoying the program. So these are 14 online self-paced models. They're high-quality videos, and I will walk you through them in a moment. We also have a VCE Build Me Up program. So this program is running this year for general and math methods. It will run for specialist and foundation in 2027 as well. In staying in line with our strategic plan to make sure that we are catering for our regional teachers, we are running a program in Dandenong, we are running this program in Brunswick, and this year we are running the program in Bendigo. So once again, if you are a region that thinks we would love to have someone come to speak to our specialist teachers or upskill teachers to teach specialist, general math methods or foundation in 2027, please get in touch with us and we will come to you. I am going to actually just stop sharing for a moment now, and I would like to hopefully jump into the Build Me Up program. Okay. Right, so I'm hoping, yes, I'm pretty sure you can see my screen now. So this is our Build Me Up program, and this is Build Me Up 7 to 10. And on here you can see my dashboard. So we've got a whole heap of courses that you can do. At the end, I am going to be able to share with you a code so that you can jump on and explore some of the courses for yourself, and you'll have access to that over the school holidays. But I wanted to share with you Build Me Up 7 to 10. Sorry, while it's loading up. So as you can see, this program has a whole heap of content in a whole heap of areas. It was designed with the idea that if you're a Year 8 teacher, you want to learn more about quadratics, you can jump on in and watch the videos. So you don't need to watch it in order, it's just watching whatever suits you, and in some cases it may be the night before you're teaching it if that's what is required. I wanted to start with just showing you a little bit of one of the videos so you can get an idea of what it looks like. And I'm hoping the sound.
Hi, my name's Tom Moore, and in this module we're going to have a look at how you can incorporate the mathematical proficiencies and the general capabilities into your teaching. But before we do, I want to let you in on a little secret. I wasn't always the maths teacher that you can see. In fact, I started off teaching PE. Maths was my second method, but I kind of skipped all those classes at uni, so I never really did much. I just did the assignments to get through and just did enough to pass. Which meant that when I actually came time to teaching maths, I came in and I was as green as you possibly could be. So I can empathise with anyone who is an out-of-field teacher who is starting up new within the profession and trying to muddle their way through teaching mathematics. This video, as I said, is all about helping you to look at the mathematical proficiencies and the general capabilities and think about, well, how can we incorporate these into our teaching? We're going to start off by playing a game, one of my favourite games that I play with a whole range of students from grade 4 all the way through to year 12. And then we're going to have a look at a process that you can use to think about, okay, well, how can I actually hero the different proficiencies and general capabilities as I teach any given task? So let's start off with the game. So I've invited Daniela along and we're going to actually play a game of first to 22. Sometimes it's called game to 22. But yeah, thanks Daniela for coming along and having a game.
Thanks Tom, it's always fun with you.
Nice. All right, so how this game works is we are going to, essentially I'll flip over a card and I might say 1. All right, now Daniela, you're going to flip over a card and add whatever you flip over to the total. But the aim is to be the person who lands on 22 or higher. So it's just going to be 22 or higher. Does that make sense?
Got this.
Cool, all right.
Okay.
Flip away.
1 plus 3 is 4.
Nice. I'm going to go with plus 4 is 8.
Okay. I'll go 8 plus 6 is 14.
Now remember we want to get to 22 or higher. So I'm going to go plus 1 is 15.
Okay.
Now it's about this stage that people generally stop and really think about it because there's some strategy coming in here. I can see you're doing exactly that. What's wrong, Daniela?
I don't think I can win.
Why not?
Well,
So we're currently on 15, right?
I'm currently in 15,
Yep.
and I thought that's getting a bit up there, but getting close to 22. So I thought I'd flip over 1. But then I realised if I flip over 1, that will get me to 16, and then you'll get
Right.
to 22 by flipping a 6. And then I did the other extreme, and I thought, what if I flip over a 6?
Right.
But then that lets you flip over 1. So I don't think I can win from here, Tom.
Right, so you're saying you can flip over any card and then it doesn't matter what you flip over, I'll then be able to land on 22 or higher.
I think so.
You're spot on. In fact, you actually never stood a chance of winning this game. I'm sorry, Daniela.
Oh.
What happens is I know a strategy that can guarantee that I'll win all the way through.
Of course you do.
Yeah, so sorry, I set you up to fail. But that's the game. And so essentially you get the game, you go through and you finish it. Now let's just actually finish it first of all. So you're
Alright.
happy to let me win just for everyone else's sake.
I
So
don't know
that's
if I am, but okay. Here you go.
17. And I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 22. So there's a bit of T-Swiz for you. So you can see here, that's the aim of the game. You get to 22 and then you flip the cards back over. Whoever wins then gets to decide who goes first. Now, if I know how I'm going to win, of course I'd choose for me to go first again, wouldn't I? All right. You play this game multiple times. You get students to pair off, play the game multiple times.
Right, that's enough of Tom. Thank you. Obviously, that's a great video, and it goes on to talk about the proficiencies and capabilities, which are an extremely important part of our curriculum. But also just wanted to go in to show you that there are other aspects such as mathematical modelling, which is something that really isn't well understood by many teachers, and some more intense things such as fractions, decimals, percentages, and ratios. Now, I'm hoping I can go back to my slideshow from here. I'm thinking this is working well. So some free activities for all Department of Ed schools is the Victorian Coding Challenge, which is sponsored by the Victorian Challenge and Enrichment Series of the Department of Education. We have also got this as a very low cost for non-government schools. The Victorian Coding Challenge is an opportunity for students from Year 5 to Year 10 who are high ability to work through a series of coding challenges. So this is designed as an 8-part online on-demand coding program, and this will run from March to August in 2026. We also have the Victorian Maths Games Challenge, very similar, also funded by the Victorian Challenge, Victorian Challenge Enrichment Series through the Department of Education, and very low cost, it's $48 per team. So these are a range of challenges and students work in small teams to complete this, and this is already up and running and will run till September, October this year. Both the Victorian Maths Games Challenge and the Victorian Coding Challenge will come together in a regional showcase. Venue should be decided, where we will invite 180 students together to work on these challenges together in a Victorian country setting, so taking it out into the regions and working through hands-on tasks. So we'll be getting away from the computers and doing maths games and coding away from screens. Really exciting with the Victorian Maths Games Challenge. We have to date over 2,000 children who have already registered, and we can see that we've had kids just playing, and we've had, I know last Friday over 2,500 games were played in this challenge. So I thought, I would give you the opportunity to have a go and play some of the games that are and a part of this challenge. And I'm going to put this, I'm hoping you can access it through the chat. I just saw your comment, Mark. I agree. Tom Moore is great fun. He'd be great fun in Vegas. So I'm going to share this with you as well, which is this screen. And these are just some of the games that you can play. Sorry, that's not where I want to be. This is going to make me register, but there's just a range of really, really great fun games on there. I'll just go back to my PowerPoint. Sorry, give me one moment.
I'll go into some, Jennifer.
Yeah, can you not see it at the moment?
Oh, sorry, I went to my own. I hit the link myself.
Pardon?
I hit the link myself and went into.
You're having a play. Good. Yeah,
please
for
free.
play.
Yep.
They're
Thanks,
great games. Other tasks, sorry, I'll go through this, is so we've done the Victorian Maths Challenge. We have the Victorian Maths Talent Quest, also great for regional kids because this is stuff that can be done at school and all of our resources for this are online. I suppose one great thing that came out of remote learning is that we really learned how to provide resources online, and I'm hoping that that provides a lot more equity to our regional students. We have the Victorian Revision Program as well. There is a misconception with the Victorian Revision Program that this is something that students do the day before their exam. Now, I know when my own daughter was doing general maths, she watched the video before her general maths exam, but it is created so that it is paced so that students should be working on this throughout terms 2 or terms 4. We have some excellent VCE experts or people with expertise who will walk students through previous exams, give them tips and tricks about all different things that they can do to be more prepared for their exams moving forward. I wanted to talk a little bit about ATSMA. So the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Maths Alliance is a national maths alliance, and Dr. Chris Matthews is the CEO and is a First Nations man who has done some amazing work. I will put the link to their website in the chat, but I would definitely say it is, if you have not seen their resources, they have fabulous resources available to both their members and non-members, and they've done a lot of work in schools. Really, really great resources and great lessons for your students. But MAV, along with all the other subjects associations, got together and we created a commitment statement. So a lot of things in the commitment statement were things such as looking at truth-telling, building relationships, creating sustainable partnerships, leading and supporting culturally responsive practice, and advocating for shared success. This year, ATSMA has offered a 50% discount to any MAV members who would like to join ATSMA. So if you're an individual, that's only $60, which I think is an absolute bargain. We are also going to do a joint conference with ATSMA in term 3. So we would love for anyone who is a member of MAV and a member of ATSMA to come, and it will be a complimentary conference that will be held at the Koori Heritage Trust in Melbourne. A big shout out to ATSMA's conferences. They do run a biannual conference. Last year was in Bruny Island in Tasmania, and it was a wonderful experience and really, really great for me and for MAV to have a look and really reflect on what we're doing to support our First Nations students and teachers. I know next year it will be in Newcastle, but I am really trying hard to get it in Victoria in the future. So watch this space. It would be great to find somewhere on country in Victoria where we could run such a conference. Another great resource that is available to members only, however, I am very happy to put this in the chat for you to have a look at as members or non-members, is a great resource on financial literacy. So these are 25 real-world lessons that have been trialled in classrooms, and they range from foundation to level 10. There's a whole heap of different resources, including a spreadsheet that can support you with that. So I will share that with you in the chat. And as you can see, we've got all of these different resources that are available online. I thought that you might like to have some time to ask me some questions, but also I would like to say to you what you can do for MAV is a few things, but one thing I would really love is for you to complete our member survey. And whilst it says a member survey, non-members are really welcome to complete this as well. And there are non-member questions as well. Please feel free to email or call myself if you need any support or any feedback. And also, come and visit us. But actually, what I would love for you to do is invite us to come out and see your schools. I know Marc and I, was it Bairnsdale West that we went to, Marc, with Robert Kaplinski? I would love to bring out international guests or interstate guests, but I also recognise that you don't need someone from the city to come out to regional areas to tell you the best things that you can do for your teachers. I know that there is so much talent in regional areas, and for me, it's really important to bring you together. When I was working in Moe last week, the highlight of my day was seeing two teachers from one school working with two teachers from another school, and at the end of the day, they left together and they'd already planned to meet up together and that networking. So we would love to continue to work with CEP to make such things happen in mathematics. So I'm going to stop there and hand over to any questions or any discussions that you might have. Just check that I haven't missed anything that I was going to put in the chat.
If I'm able to jump in first, Jen. So
Sure.
My name's Tess. I'm a principal at Talbot Primary School. We've got a beautiful enrolment of 34 students at the moment from F to 6. We're running we call them multi-age classrooms. So interesting that you called them multi-year level, I think you said.
Yes.
But they are brilliant environments, even though they are one of the toughest potentially to teach in and, cater for the spread or for the curriculum. Why did you say that that's your preferred environment? What makes you so passionate about it?
So, Tess, I personally grew up, started my teaching degree in a small Montessori school. And so I had year levels or grades 4 to 7. So that was quite a big spread. And that forced me, rather than teaching to a level, and I think this is a misconception that we have, that if you have year 7, you teach level 7. It really forced me to think about the students that I was teaching, not the year that I was teaching. So making sure that when we're looking at the curriculum, that we're looking at the students' needs and what level we're teaching to. And we know, we all know that there's going to be a spread of, up to 6 levels in any grade. And when you've got 34 students, that might be across all 6, which makes it a great challenge, but it means that teachers are going to ensure that they're not teaching to a level. I'm probably quite happy to discuss things like the recently created Victorian lesson plans, and I think you've had some of that team out working with you. The fear is that teachers are going to pick this up and just go with it. And what we want teachers to do is go with, because they're written to level, and there's never a classroom out there where every student is going to only be at one level. So making sure that we differentiate and work with that. So if you've got a 3-4 composite grade or multi-age grade, you're forced to do that.
Absolutely. And anyone else can jump in if they have a question or pop it in the chat at the same time. But I'm going to keep going because one of the things that you mentioned was equity for all students, which is something that we are passionate about here. But you alluded to equity for all staff as well, and staff having access to good resources and professional learning. So we have an F to 2 and we have a 3 to 6 classroom, but we have several students working outside of that scope. So a couple working year 7, year 8 level, and we just run with it. So the children sort of guide us as to where they're going or their capabilities, but it does involve a lot of staff to make sure that we can target all of the levels. There's no easy way to do it, is there?
No.
No, there's no secret recipe or key.
Yep. There's
So we've
no
got ES staff trained and we've got our teachers, and I jump in as well during maths and probably phonics time, but during maths in particular, it's all hands on deck so that we can make sure we cover as much of it as we can.
Yeah. I mean, there's no silver bullet. We're not going to fix this problem, and it's not a problem. It's a challenge, and it's a good challenge, and they're kids, and you know, maths is messy and schools are messy, and we're learning alongside our students, which is a great thing to do. But I suppose a great story is recently, some of you may know Di Seaman. She was talking about a photo of herself on the front of Vinculum, our journal, from 1987. So I went into the MAV archives and I found this photo where she said it's the best photo of her. I think she looks stunning, but she still looks stunning now. And I read through that journal, and there were so many issues or challenges that came up in that journal that are very similar to what we have now. Out-of-field teachers, pedagogical struggles. So, you know, we've got the explicit teaching inquiry struggle that is being debated at the moment. There were very similar pedagogical struggles there, lack of funding to schools, all of those things came up through that. So I think the more we work together, it's not really about solving a problem, but it's sharing solutions.
Absolutely. Marc, you said you've got a couple of questions.
Yeah, just a couple of brief ones. Jen, I love how you're talking about some of the competitions that MAV run. Had some really good experiences in schools with competitions, you know, raising some aspiration and just making students excited about maths. At some networking events though, you know, some schools have a lot to do with competitions, others haven't heard of them before. Just in your experience, have you got any anecdotes about schools sort of introducing them and really getting some traction and really getting some take up?
Yeah, so one really positive thing about both the Victorian Coding Challenge and the Victorian Maths Games Challenge are they are designed for high ability students, but there's no reason why all students in your class can't do them. So the type of tasks are low floor, high entry, and also you could have students in level 7 doing the year 5 tasks. There's no reason why they can't do that. They're also really well self-paced and intuitive. So, you know, I'd be really happy to show you an example of the Victorian Coding Challenge. I think it's a little bit quirky and dorky, but it's the type of thing that kids are going to love. So there's a coder, you know, he's got his hood on, he's setting them up with these problems. So a concern that I would have is we don't always want kids in front of screens though and doing this stuff in front of screens. So it's a great way to deliver problems. So we want to be able to have these types of games and then move on to things that are manipulative, so card games and whatnot. I also think it's really important that when we're doing these games and challenges that students know why they're doing them. So we can get and this is where that pedagogical war comes in, where we could get a little bit lost where students are playing games and they don't know why. So what's the learning behind what we're doing today? What are we trying to achieve? And at times the achievement might be engagement, and we just want these kids to be engaged and enjoying doing the maths. But I also want them to say, such as the task that Tom was doing, well, they're doing addition. They're actually thinking about all different facts and what that might look like. And possibly also recording what they're doing and recording their learning so it's not lost.
No, thanks very much. Just also another quick one, and I guess it's in terms of the MAV resources. There's a plethora up there in terms of programs that schools can get involved in, and there's, you know, lots of support for teachers. You might have answered this one a little bit in your discussion, but I'm doing some work with some graduates at the moment, really encouraging them to make use of the professional associations. Through the graduate lens, but one of the barriers we've had is just in terms of time. Is there something that you would encourage them to start with, that if they had 10, 15 minutes a week to just sort of dip their toe in, to build their familiarity with the resources, but just to give them a bit of an entry point? What would be your recommendation?
Yeah, so to be really honest with you, I think at the moment what we're seeing is a lack of confidence in content. And so I would say to teachers to go back to their uni books, whether it's Booker or if it's Di Siemens Teaching Mathematically, those big thick books that they would have bought at university. And if not, they can always buy them through the Math Shop and we'll deliver them very efficiently. Also, they might be able to find them online or see them, on the teacher next door's desk, and really read what's in there, because this is really great research that our academics have done about the content. And once teachers are really familiar with the content and what it is that they're teaching, they'll feel a lot more confident in the pedagogy around how they're teaching it. So yeah, once we get the content right, then the pedagogy will just flow.
Thanks very much. And
probably just adding to that, it doesn't just mean the more challenging tasks, so the stuff that you're doing in level 10, 8, 9, 10, but if you're a prep teacher, delivering that content is really important. So the way you're delivering to students how to count is really important. Yeah.
Thank you for those questions, Marc. If anyone else has questions, pop them in the chat as well. I'm extremely passionate, as Marc McLean will know, about early years education and numeracy in particular. And I agree that if you head into that classroom and you don't know your content, or you don't know the gaps that can easily appear, then you might come up against trouble. So we do have actually 3 copies of Booker's book, and we get it out during our planning sessions, which is very old school, I know, but that's what we enjoy doing. One of the things that I wanted to ask you, we have a community that love the small school environment, but the parents are a little bit wobbly about getting involved. Do you have suggestions for bringing the families on board or making them more comfortable with the maths, or coming into a school and joining in? Apart from setting up a family maths night, which I think might be a bit scary, what would be your suggestions? What's a nice sort of soft sell or a soft sort of entry point?
Yeah, I mean, aside from our family maths night, which always should come with a sausage sizzle.
Correct. Always
because if you want to get anyone into the family, free food is the way to go. I also think one of the most, and so it is a family maths night, but a really successful thing that I did was going into a school, and we taught the students a whole range of games. So and students spent a whole day doing games days. So whether they were card games, board games, whatever they were. And then when their parents came at night, it was a EAL school, so many of the parents didn't speak English. So rather than me standing up and teaching their parents how to play the games, the kids were able to take their parents around and play the games. So I think some really purposefully curated games that you can send home, and Dr. Paul Swan has a whole heap of stuff online that you are able to just download that's relevant at a primary school level. There's a whole heap of card games, but sending home games for homework I think is really worthwhile. As you know, the Think Square website is fabulous, or you could get parents involved in the Victorian Maths Games Challenge. We know that parents were or students were doing the Games Challenge over the weekend, which was a real buzz for us to see that kids were there playing away. So I would suggest for homework that the students' task is to go and play mathematically based games that have a really strong intentional of maths learning, but are engaging and fun. The other thing is really great picture books. So in your early years, sending home picture books that have got some really great connections and talking about how you might build in some real world connections to do with that. So, things like Rosie's Walk or 1 is a snail, 10 is a crab. I remember feeling very silly once being out in Mildura and reading that book to students and thinking, who would read this book to students when they're so far away from the ocean? And then realising actually the riverbank has all of the animals that are in the book. So, sending that home and saying to parents, what can you find that's in your natural environment that might have legs, and tasks like that, I think.
Yeah, perfect. And you can always put it into the context that you really know. I was mentioning sheep earlier, I'm pretty sure, before we so that would probably work for our families really well. Alongside the families, you mentioned that the engagement is one of the most important things. So if your purpose of that lesson is to simply raise or up the engagement in the lesson so that you're getting buy-in from the kids, and that's what you need to do, what's one of your favourite strategies, thinking of my multi-year or multi-age setting? What's one of your go-to things when you walk in a room and you don't really know the kids that well, if it was you?
So, games is a great way, and card games, I wouldn't go into a school without a pack of cards. And just, it's really easy just to have a game of Snap and work through kids with different types of games and being able to differentiate with something like Snap, which is really easy, where you can do, number facts to 10 Snap, all different versions of Snap. Picture books is also something that would be really important to me, but some really fun inquiry tasks as well. And I think for a lot of our kids who are not as engaged, making sure that we've got stuff that's hands-on. So, there's a great lesson called 4 Cubed Houses. I don't think you can go wrong with something like that.
Yep. Is that the one where they build them in all different designs? They have to find all the different designs?
Yep.
Yep. That might be a particular favourite of mine in the senior year levels.
Yep.
Okay, Jen, thank you so much for that discussion and all of those resources. I hope that you do get quite a few more schools signing up for membership so that they can access the fabulous resources. If we don't have any more questions, I might be throwing. Jen, did you have anything final that you'd like to say before I throw to Marc, who's going to talk to us about his pod pick?
No, I would just like to say thank you for the opportunity to talk to you and all the fabulous teachers in regional areas, and feel free to email me directly, invite us out, because we would love to come and see you.
Perfect, and thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Marc, I'm throwing to you to talk to us about your pod pick, please.
Thanks very much, Tess. Okay. Thanks very much for the opportunity. There's a bit of a theme to my podcast I'm going to share tonight, and it's a little bit reflective of, I guess, my journey through the science of learning across the last 3 years. And I'm starting for the last one. There we go. There's my first one. This is my first one. Had the pleasure of witnessing Nathaniel Swain a few years ago. He's been in the classroom but does a lot of work at the moment around cognitive load and sort of brings some strategies into the classroom. Chalk Dust is a great one that he collaborates with Rebecca on. I guess I really like it because it's grounded in some real classroom experience. And it's highly practical. So there's a few things that me and my team have done immediately, sort of after listening to it, and that's always really helpful when you're doing any sort of professional learning. I think I've sort of put that link down the bottom. Any good professional learning just makes you think about your own practice, and that's probably the question. No matter no matter what the topic is on Chalk Dust, I'm always sort of thinking that idea, why am I choosing these strategies? And then I try and answer that question, I'm doing these things because. So it's really just, I guess, helped me, there's so much out there, but I find this helps me cut through some of that noise. So that's helpful. Second one I want to share, Chalk and Talk. Again, sort of looks, some of the themes are, around the science of learning, but there's a lot of curriculum debate on there, which I sort of enjoy just sort of listening to. And I guess a big theme of the podcast is looking around literacy and, mathematics instruction, but it'll bring some ideas in and challenge some of those ideas. I don't necessarily, at each point have a firm opinion on what's discussed, but it always makes me think, and I always like hearing sort of two sides of maybe strategy that's put out there or something new that's coming through. I guess what I really like, a really big advantage, is it's pretty clear and direct. So the clarity of the podcast is really helpful. And sometimes when you get into some of that research-based, into some of those research discussions, you can lose your way a little bit, but it's really clear. And I find it just in planning discussions, sometimes you can really translate some of that discussion into your planning, and that's really helpful to get some rich discussions going back with your teams. My next one is with Brendan Lee, and again, sort of on that research base, but he really bridges the gap really well between practice and some heavy content research pieces. But I really like this one because I think I always walk away thinking, what's something small I could do? It really narrows it down to your practice. And I really love this question: what's something small and manageable that I can do maybe tomorrow or across the next week? I think sometimes as teachers we can really overthink some challenges, but to get some momentum going, what's something actionable maybe tomorrow? So the content I find highly practical, but I find that I can really implement it into discussions and into my classroom very quickly. And this is one that I've only started to dabble in, progressively incorrect. Similar to Chalk and Talk, there's just a lot of interrogating different ideas in education. So I really like it. Probably helps me question some of the assumptions that I've got. I'm 15 years into my career, and sometimes you've been doing things for a long time and you're not sure why you're doing it. So it's great to sort of go back to really get into some of those topics and hear some different viewpoints on them. Another theme that's been discussed in the ones I've been listening to is just that idea around cognitive load. So it dovetails well with a couple of the other podcasts that I've mentioned. It can be quite bold at times, but again, it really just encourages me to think, okay, I've done something in my class, and why did I do it? And then, how can I measure whether it was effective or not? So this is one I've just been dabbling with recently. All four really dovetail well with each other. And as I said at the start, it's been great for me just accessing that science of learning narrative that's sort of been prevalent across the last 3 to 5 years. I'm going to hand it back to you, Gary. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Marc. Jen, thank you very much. I've been trying to work out how Tom can manipulate the game so that he always wins. And I suspect it might be he always works it out so that he lands on 14 before his opponent has to turn over a card. But how he always gets to 14, I'd love to know. I would have liked to see the rest of that video. It was fantastic. And it was really interesting to see a twinkle in Mark McClay's eye when he found out that the vernaculum is a bar. So that's all very good, and we'll certainly remember that one. Look, all that is left for me is to remind everybody that the recordings of these sessions are available online. And also, if you are able to fill out the survey, that would be really great. Now, the winter series is going to start on the 3rd of June. And as yet, the theme hasn't been announced, but that will be announced fairly soon, so I believe.
We can clarify the first one, Gary.
Sorry?
We can clarify just the first episode.
What's that, Marc?
Which is really exciting. It's directed at careers teachers. And one of the groups we're going to hear from is Melbourne University, who tell us they don't get enough rural people apply for their scholarships to stay on campus down there and study. A lot of people probably think it's too expensive, but there are a lot of scholarships available, so they're really keen to hear what they can offer, and hopefully we get lots of careers teachers who log on or at least watch the recording. But looks like a great series coming up, but that's the first one that is locked away, Gary. Thank you.
Well, that's very good. So a reminder, the 3rd of June is the start of that winter series. So really all that remains is to say, look, have a very, very happy Easter and a safe Easter. And we will see you for the winter series. Thank you.